we're going to be breaking down for you here on UGC Workshop Live why you should build a channel for your user-generated content. More importantly, we're going to break down how to build that first UGC channel. So we're not just going to yap at you for 30 to 45 minutes, okay? As much as I know that everyone loves to hear me yap, right? Wrong. What we are going to do is we're going to have a dynamic discussion with our guest. We're going to be showing you guys examples. We're going to be getting into the bullet point nitty gritty. So get those notepads out. Take your iPad out. Get ready to take some notes because I'm going to be giving you the playbook for how to even approach building out your UGC channel, thinking through everything from how to structure it to how to activate your creators, to how to publish it. And again, I would love to see you guys active in chat. Thank you, John, for getting the convo going here. We do have some DTX pros here. I'm in the Bank of America Plaza building here in Dallas and loving this little studio setup we've got going. We got Seattle in the chat. Very nice. All right, folks. So again, by the end of this session, you're going to have a channel plan. You're going to have a first episode checklist. You're going to have some exact steps to set up your capture workflow, some of your assets, your publishing, your production cadence, and even some tips for what to measure as you get started building your UGC channel, right? It's more than just clicks, and it's more than just views, right? Oh my goodness, look at this spread. We got Wisconsin. Hey, the Lou, I love to see it. I'm a Mizzou grad here, so, MIZ, repping Missouri. Very nice. Waco, California, Indianapolis, New York. We're covering the whole 50 states here today. Okay, so let's jump into it. Again, why to build a UGC channel, right? Look at all these ZOUs. Why to build a UGC channel, and again, how to build your UGC channel. So this might feel familiar to you, right? If you are managing an ecosystem of creators, or you're managing, let's say, MarketScale Studio for those folks out there who are already Studio users. If you notice that Studio tends to go quiet after your rally push for content creation, it's really not a motivation problem to get your creators activated. It's really more of a system problem, a structure problem, right? Do you find that you yourself have trouble staying consistent with content output? Do you find that you have trouble getting others to create content consistently? Well, it's probably because each time you go to create your next selfie video or get in front of the webcam for some thought leadership, it feels like you're having to start from scratch. You're like reinventing the wheel. You have to come up with new ideas, a new focus every time. And it's like you're having to, it's like January 1st at the gym every single time you want to start a video, restarting the habit, right? And that's really what we're talking about here today. It's about building structure to help you turn content creation into a habit. That's the real reason why channels are so effective, on a discipline sense, but also they're effective in your reach and in your audience engagement, which we'll get into here in a little bit. So today we are going to walk you through building a channel for your user-generated content that you can run ideally weekly without the heroics of needing to, restart a content strategy every single time you want to produce some content. So let's cut out the jargon real quick. When I say user-generated content, when I say UGC, really I want you guys to think of real people sharing real insights with the gear they have on hand. That's really all UGC is. It's not paid influencers, right? It is real people in your community. It could be you, it could be your colleagues, your customers, your channel partners, offering real insights. So, whether that's thought leadership or product education or customer stories. And then most critically, using the gear they have on hand. Now, that might be a fancy studio and a nice podcast microphone, but it can also be a selfie, right? Directly to your LinkedIn. It can be your webcam. This is not about perfection, right? Or polish. UGC is about authenticity and consistency. So let's dig into it. We've cut out the intros now, and it's time to get into the meat of building your UGC channel. As we dive in And as I introduce my guest here for today, let's see in comments here in chat. I want to hear from our audience here. What brought you here today, right? Why were you hooked on the idea of learning a little bit more about building a UGC channel? What's got you thinking about UGC channels? Are you launching your own podcast? Are you looking to launch a channel for your company's brand? Are you, looking to guide and coach others on creating more consistent UGC? Would love to hear the motivations here in chat for what brought you here, because that's going to influence a lot of the guidance that I give you here today. All right, folks. So it was on the advert. You saw him with the cowboy hat. He's got the swag. It's unmatched. I'd like to introduce our panelist for today. He is a director of growth here at MarketScale, but more importantly, he is a top-notch sales professional who runs his own UGC channel and has seen much success in applying user-generated content as a tool to help him move his business goals, which is sales, revenue, and community engagement, right? So he can really speak from the trenches. I'd like to welcome to the stage Mr. David Kemp. Let's go.
Let's go. Man, what an intro. Honored. And let's not be mistaken here. This is your movie. I just want a small part, small role in this cinema. So, hey, everybody, good to meet you guys. Hopefully, today is beneficial for you. And I'll just share some anecdotes, some strategies, some ways that not only I have found valuable to my role and to MarketScale, but how, some of our best customers, some of the best brands in B2B have executed without feeling like they have to add more to their plate. That's not why we're here. We're all busy and we're all wearing a lot of hats. So how can we make this practical? That's what we're here to talk about today. And Daniel, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely, man. All right. Well, let's dive into it. I'm just going to read off some of these in chat because I think it showcases the variety of use cases, right, for a channel in the first place. So we've got Arthur here launching a podcast. We've got the Dr. Kevin Stevenson, host of the I Don't Care podcast, wanting to improve his YouTube channel. Steven wants to give candidates a realistic preview of what working at their org looks like. Ryan's trying to guide global teams to be UGC leaders, right? We've got folks who want to improve their reach and speak a little bit more earnestly and authentically about their offerings, want to make content that makes you look like a leader in the industry. Amazing, right? Now, all of these could be tackled with one-off content, right? But as you guys aptly understood, all of those goals are going to come to fruition if you really create a habit of output and find a way to turn good ideas into discipline, into consistency, both for the sake of your internal production and for the sake of your audience engagement, right? To have better impact with your content. So let's draw a distinction here. One-off content versus a channel, right? This is not to say that you can't go out there and post a fun, culture video on your LinkedIn, or like post something like, you just had this quick idea. You were at a trade show and something popped in your head and you wanted to share it on your LinkedIn. Okay. This is not disincentivizing one-offs. It's just saying one-offs are one-offs. They are complementary to a strong foundation, a consistent foundation. So one-offs require random effort and lead to random results, right? They can be difficult to scale. If every time you go to start, you're having to reinvent the wheel for your content strategy. You may find lightning in a bottle once, but if you're not prepared to replicate that, then you may struggle to see the same results that you want from your short form content. And what's really, the inhibitor of one-off content is that it's difficult to decentralize. It's very hard to animate your community, to herd all the content creator cats, right? If the message here is, just create when you can, or I'll hit you up at some point with a content request, fit it into your schedule, I guess, when you can. Really, this is just kind of giving everyone every reason not to do a video, right? And to not make it a habit. Now let's look at channel. When you've got a repeatable format, you get repeatable outcomes. So you get consistency for your audience. You get consistency for your creators. You get intentionality in the scope of your content output, and you get momentum from the variety of content that you produce under the same branded umbrella of content. So really, pound for pound, building a UGC channel has almost no downsides. The only downsides are the difficulty of just working the muscle of discipline and consistent output. But that's what we're here to help you guys master, right? So David, I want to loop you in here. You have your own channel, right? I want to go ahead and just show it here while we're chatting. You are the host of the Highway to Health podcast. And this is your channel, right? You produce everything from full-length interviews to short clips and snippets, mini interviews to highlights from your episodes. You've got news sections. You've got live events.
Yep.
You've got health, HFMA, trade show content here. So a lot of variety, all under the same umbrella. I want to hear from you and share with our audience, how has having a channel helped your content be a more useful tool in the business goals that you set for yourself?
It's everything. Like, back in I don't know, when did the .com era start? It was like, why do I need a website? Now everybody knows, like, website's everything. Your channel now, your UGC is everything too. Like, as a sales guy, and I know not everybody on this event is a salesperson, but when I'm calling somebody, when I'm emailing somebody, when I meet them at a trade show, what's the first thing that they're going to do? They're going to look at my LinkedIn. They're going to try to figure out, who this guy is. It's important for me to start building trust, credibility, authority right then and there, even without that conversation happening in real time. They're gathering information. The channel, the podcast, helps me because I don't have to think of something new. I don't have to coordinate a new conversation, a new guest, a new topic every day. The podcast helps me have one 30-minute conversation, virtually or in person, which then creates, up to a dozen short form clips and pieces of content that then I can share, I can distribute, I can drip out. It saves me time. A 30-minute conversation almost fills up my social calendar, my content calendar for an entire month. If I do that twice a month, I'm done, right? An hour out of my month sets me up for success with prospects, with customers. I'm giving a great experience and an opportunity for other thought leaders to be positioned in that way. And so instead of me having to come up with something novel and interesting and engaging every day or multiple times a week, it's twice a month.
Right. And what I've noticed from your content output is that just sort of setting yourself the habit of content creation makes it so that you start to learn and build a set of content muscles that you can deploy in your content. So, you start to develop a rapport with how you interact with your guests. You start to develop a body language, taglines, right, that you deploy in your short form content and your little recaps or your news jacking, updates.
Yeah.
And these are the soft skills, the benefits of when you are treating content output like a habit, you get all the benefits of the habit. I'm going to keep going back to the gym example, right? Very difficult to start going to the gym constantly for, 3 months straight. But if you set an achievable goal for yourself, I'm going to go twice a week, every week. Now by week 8, it's just a habit. It's part of your week, right? And you don't even have to overthink the exercises, your form, all the things that you improve at by just doing it consistently. So same with content, your content message, visuals, performance, the variety of who you get, the radar you have for good topics gets better if you set yourself up to create consistently because you you iterate, right?
Yeah. And I'd be willing to bet that the people here know they need to do this. They know the why is almost universal now.
Yep.
They understand, the people on this event, the people that, we talk to every day, they know AI indexing requires content. They know they have to fill every digital channel with good content to be found. The why is obvious nowadays. 5 years ago, maybe not. Now,
Yeah.
the why is there. What we run into with marketing teams is what almost every team deals with. Look, I don't have budget. I don't have time. My team is limited. And but I know I need to do this. How do I do it? The podcast, look, like giving somebody a podcast or telling somebody that they need to start a podcast. Like if you were to go to your sales team today, if you were to go to your product and software teams today and say, "Hey, I need you guys to start a podcast," while like flattering, it might feel like you're giving them a puppy. Like thanks for the puppy, but what am I going to do with it when I'm busy? What am I going to do with it when I'm traveling? And it almost feels like an obligation as much as it does a compliment. And so we can talk about how we don't have, this episodic content, this channel doesn't have to be a quote unquote podcast.
Right.
If you do start a podcast, there are ways to structure your conversation, your podcast conversation, recorded conversation, that makes it easy to get those sound bites identified, extracted, distributed. If you've tuned into Highway to Health, I start every podcast with the same question, and I end every podcast with the same question. And so now, no matter how that conversation goes, I know that I have 2 social clips that I can pull from the first few minutes and the last few minutes of every episode. It takes me no time, energy, or effort to have 3 pieces of content after a 30-minute conversation.
Yep.
The short form at the beginning, the short form at the end, and the long form entire episode. And so there's little tips, tricks, things that you can build into the structure of your content that simplifies it and automates it.
100%, man. I appreciate you bringing that up too, about how it's the answer here when I say build a channel is not just you have to launch a podcast per se. There are lots of different ways to build channels. So we're now going to start to get into the practical portion of this webinar. So get those notes out. Start, I don't know, if you want to auto-transcribe this or take out the notepad, the legal pad, and get back in school mode because it's time for some lessons here, okay?
Take us to church.
Take us to church, baby. All right. An apple a day. Yeah. Keeps me away or keeps you back for next week's session. Okay. So first thing that you want to figure out for yourself, already on page 2. Let's go, Nick. That's what I'm talking about. Star student here. So first thing that you want to sort out for yourself when you go to build your UGC channel is you want to choose your channel type. What kind of channel are you building? And really, this comes down to what kind of content are you populating in that channel. Already, even by just framing it this way, I hope y'all see there are a lot of different ways to build channels. It's not just my podcast I have to produce 1,000,000 times, right? Or like map out for an entire year's worth of interviews, right? So let's break these down. I like to bucket these into 3 different types of UGC channels. Option A is your traditional show. Okay. Option B is your series, a limited series. And option C is an umbrella channel. Okay, let's pick at each of these. Option A. Okay, this is a weekly, bi-weekly, or if you really got to stretch it out, once a month show, ongoing, right? This is best if you want consistency, you want to build that audience expectation, you're going to want to create a show with a very set deadline of release. It's going to have a set cadence, a set focus, and it's usually consistent forms of content output. So this might be something like a podcast, but it can also be like a thought leadership insights corner. It can be you solo riffing, right? I actually want to show an example of this that I think is a perfect example of a consistent show that requires pretty low barrier to production. And this is coming from clients, Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
So Sean Muller here, he creates this tax navigator recap show, and he releases this once a week. Okay. Look at the production here. This is pretty straightforward, direct to phone or direct to camera in an office. Love the Nutcracker suit jacket. Pretty elite. Okay. And check this out too. This is the tax navigator underneath the umbrella of a larger podcast, Beyond the Numbers. So like series within a series action going on here, which I find very interesting. But look at the publishing time on this, right? Once a week, every week. But the length on these is, right? The length on these is what? 3 minutes or less? Some of them a little longer. Pretty straightforward, right?
Yep.
So this counts as a show. It does not have to be a podcast, all right? And again, low barrier to entry on production, straightforward, not over-polished or overdone, just a little bit of branding, good insights, and look at the consistent engagement on this too. Decent reposts, decent likes and engagement, and it only gets, kind of more consistent engagement as it goes along. So you start to develop something familiar for your audience because you bake in that consistency. Okay, so that's option A. That's your show.
Hold on.
Option B is going to be the series. Oh, yeah, David, go ahead.
Just to peel the onion back a little bit on the how for that series, okay? In MarketScale Studio, when they record those episodes, those mini episodes, they have a saved order button in MarketScale Studio. So it's like ordering your favorite, late night snack from Uber Eats or whatever, Grubhub. You don't have to go and find the restaurant and find the meal and remind them to take the pickles off. You say, previous order, okay, I order this 3 times a week. Boom, I'm hitting that button, shows up on your doorstep. In Studio, it's the same. So like Sean doesn't even have to, when he uploads that content, or records that content, he doesn't even have to like detail his expectation on the deliverable. He just picks the save order. Our team knows what he expects what he needs. Same day or next day, it shows up in his inbox. That's how he can stay consistent. It's 3 minutes, so it doesn't take him long to record. And then it's probably 3 minutes to upload, click saved order. And now not only does he get great content, Weaver gets great content. That's how easy it needs to be to fit into everybody's schedule. If you're in Studio today, if you're using Studio, remember the saved order feature because it's a lifesaver, especially for these series.
Definitely. And so you guys know we will be taking a little bit of time on the webinar today to show you some of the workflows that you can deploy in MarketScale Studio to help you execute on all this. So thank you for the teaser there, David. So that was option A, right? Option B, this is the limited series. So this is good for if you may not be able to get the kind of consistent output you want from a creator, like literally weekly sit down and record. These are really good downstream from Power Hours. This is a style of content creation that we train our creators on, that we often facilitate ourselves as part of the MarketScale client services team, right? A Power Hour is what it sounds like. You sit down with an interviewer for 30 minutes to an hour. You go through a ton of Q&A questions and you essentially knock out a month's worth of content in one fell swoop. And then you release that content in a cadenced fashion. So you kind of speed up the production time, but you still get the power of cadenced output, repeatable, consistent output. Of course, though, one interview is limited. So this would be more of a limited series, right? Limited but structured, consistent output with an end date in mind. You got 8 clips out of that mini interview. This is really solid if you need a focused campaign, right? Some kind of special launch. Maybe you have an event coming up, a product launch, or a specific thought leadership theme. And let me show you this in action as well. So here is one of our clients from Benchmark Products that we hosted a Power Hour with. He's got his own little
Channel.
content creator page here. Yep. And see, look, this is all him recording in the same environment, right? So these were all recorded on the same day, but look at all the pieces that were made out of this one power hour. Some of it is him riffing on specific products. Some of it is him riffing on, like his career. I mean, it's really a variety of different topics. But on the production side of things, this was made easy by capturing in bulk all at once, get through 10 topics in an hour, and now you've got all the content you need to release over the course of a month or 6 weeks or whatever. If you really want to be inventive, have some costume changes for your interview. Throw on a jacket, put on the hat, make it look like you did it across several different days. So yeah, that's option B. Now, option C here is the umbrella channel. Now, this is I don't recommend this one as much because it sort of neglects the disciplined cadence of production. But I understand that may not be realistic for every single person on the call. So the umbrella channel, option C here, is essentially best if you can't necessarily commit yourself or your people to the most disciplined of consistent output, but you want all the output that you are able to create to build a coral reef of engagement, a self-fulfilling prophecy, where essentially, because you build one umbrella channel and you feed all your different content branded under that umbrella channel, all of it is reinforcing the channel, meaning that you're creating a brand, you're feeding that brand, and you're giving your audience something consistent, even if the content creation or the content output is a bit inconsistent, right? So again, less consistent in terms of release cadence, but consistency in terms of branding, page, maybe featured guests, or content theme and focus. So let's review. If you can publish weekly or bi-weekly, I recommend a show. Get yourself into a production cadence that is consistent. That's really where the magic happens. If you can capture in bulk, right, you're more limited on time, try the limited series. Sit down once a month, get yourself all the content you need for the month, and then don't worry about having to record again until next month, but your output is now consistent. And then if you find that just both on production and output, you can't really lock down something once a week, once every other week because of whatever reason, build an umbrella channel. Give yourself at least the branding consistency and the hub of engagement so that your audience feeds on all the great content you are creating. And Arthur, yes, we're going to publish this presentation when it's all done so you can revisit it. And we're going to, follow our own playbook and chop this up into little bits and promote it. So you'll be seeing it all over LinkedIn. Okay, if you have any questions here. Oh, perfect, Ryan, you beat me to it. Thank you. Would it be best to focus on one type of channel or a mix of all, traditional and a limited series, for example? I think it's great to have a variety of channels because really, and I'm going to get to this in a little bit, everyone on this call, everyone in your ecosystem could technically have a channel. It's not like you only need one per brand. David, what are your thoughts on that question?
Yeah, absolutely. Most of this stuff goes on LinkedIn, right? And I like to think of the type of content that I share on LinkedIn to be about 75% professional, right? I'm talking about my industry. I'm talking about MarketScale. I'm talking about challenges that my community is facing and looking for solutions on. 75%. What I do mix in, though, is call it 15%, just industry related. Hey, it's Heart Month. Hey, it's Nurses Week. Hey, right, if you're in healthcare. That last 10%, and we can debate this if because I think it's controversial, but that last 10% is personal. Hey, like me personally, I enjoy being outside. I love being outdoors. There's something about appreciating the creation, and I call it creation appreciation. I hashtag it, and about 10% of my content is, when I'm in a deer blind or I'm on a morning walk, and it's usually unedited. So I usually mix my content and the content that's on LinkedIn and that's on my channel in that way, right? 75, 15, 10%. I'm an English major. Hopefully that adds up to 100%. You get the idea here. I mix it in, and
Yep.
sometimes they overlap. I did a healthcare podcast at the Houston Rodeo a couple of years ago with the chief medical officer of the Houston Rodeo. That kind of overlaps, right? Personal and professional in industry. And so I would use that approach. Your percentages don't have to be the same as mine. I just like to add a little bit of touch of who I am personally and what I enjoy doing personally so people get to know that side of me a little bit. I just don't want to overdo it.
Yeah. And what's cool there is that these different options of how to build your channel, like really these are just starting points, because once you start to get into the habit of content creation, you'll find that they all kind of start to blend together, right? Like what David is describing here is essentially an umbrella channel, option C, where he's got one channel, his Highway to Health brand, that is benefiting from both his one-off creation or consistent enough creation where maybe once a month he does his creation appreciation outside, but also his podcast. That's an umbrella channel. But he also schedules his podcast consistently. Like, I mean, David, I'm pretty sure you're releasing an episode at least once every other week, right? So,
Yeah.
so it's both, right? So treat these lanes, these options as places to start to get you habit building. It's kind of like, try learning every new exercise for proper chest form, back form, hitting your core all on the same day of your first day at the gym. You're probably going to get overwhelmed and you're going to give up. So give yourself one place to start and expand. And then you'll all be creating like Kemp here. Nick, your question. What are your thoughts about having different hosts per video? We try not to have one person be the star. Great idea. And this is totally feasible. You'll probably see that on
what
this.
We preach.
Yeah.
Democratize, crowdsource, get in. And the reason that's important is because it takes the burden off of one person, right? It goes back to that podcast being a puppy. Look, if you can democratize and crowdsource, it takes the load, the stress off of one person to do all this themselves. The more you can get, the better, and it layers your go-to-market, right? They get to learn more about the entire team or more people from the team than just, that same person over and over again.
Here's a good example from our client, ICOM. They run a podcast where they rotate hosts. I think they have maybe 2 or 3 main hosts, right? This is great. What's good about this too is you give someone, the occasional responsibility of hosting an episode once a month. You're now planting the seeds for them to launch their own channel. Hey, thanks for hosting that episode. Do you mind also, every other week giving us a quick 90-second hot take video? We want to empower you to launch your own channel. And that's an important layer to this too. If you're someone that's watching this and you're an orchestrator, like you are orchestrating a UGC strategy, you're building the channel for a brand, right? Not your personal brand. Remember that giving people channels is basically a vote of confidence. It's an empowering compliment. You're basically saying, hey, you in the engineering team or you on the sales team, we trust you enough to be a face and voice for our brand because we believe in you, right? Don't discount that human element of helping kind of wake people up to the fact that they are content creators and they have something to offer. It's an important layer.
It's a good point. And Ethan's question kind of aligns with that, right? How do we encourage others to get involved in video, especially when there's the one person everyone knows on social? A couple things, Ethan. Great question. This is probably the question I get most every day. First thing I'll say is most of these people, if they're not creating for professional reasons, they are creating for personal reasons already. It's not that foreign of a concept to them. And sometimes they need to be reminded of that. Look, like they do this when they're on vacation. We all see the Instagram stories of the food that they eat while on vacation or the boating trip that they took. That muscle is already built personally. Just bring it over to the professional setting. How we encourage them if there's resistance is the truth is always, let's shine a light on them. Let's make them feel like the hero. the light will be bright enough to reflect back on us. So like, this is really good for customers. Well, I can't get customers to do a testimonial or a case study. That's okay. Let's celebrate something that they're doing well, whether it aligns with our product, our service, or not. Let's make them the hero. Cooper Vision in healthcare does such a great job of this. They have a podcast called Best Practices, and they highlight ophthalmologists and optometrists that are doing such great things that they've been certified as best practice clinics. Sometimes those best practice clinics aren't even customers of Cooper Vision, but they're giving that clinic, that ophthalmologist, optometrist, an opportunity to be celebrated. They almost never say no to that. In fact, I would bet they go home and tell their wife or their husband, guess what happened today? Like, I was recognized as a best practice clinic. If we can find a way to shine a light on that expert or that advocate, they almost never say no. And so make it about them, make them the hero, and trust that if you shine the light bright enough on them, it'll reflect back on you.
Boom. That's going to be a tagline. We're snipping the hell out of that one. Good job, David. That's good. So, we're tight on time here. I want to try to speed run through a few more key points here. So make sure y'all got your notes here. Jamie, I'll make sure to come back to your question here, or John's being our chat engager here if you want to answer Jamie's question in chat while we're going. So let's expand on this point of getting people to create, right? So this is for the people on the call who are orchestrating a UGC channel for their brand, right? You are building a channel for others to participate. How do you get people to contribute? Who do you ask to contribute to your channel? What I want everyone to walk away from here is that literally everyone on this call can and should have a channel for UGC. There is really no reason for anyone on this call, if you are developing your personal brand, or if you're the marketer that's orchestrating things and you're like, I don't necessarily need the channel, it's for everyone else. No, you should have a channel too. There's plenty of reasons why you should be leading from the front with your own content output, right? But let's say you need to build a simple roster of initial creators. What you want to start with is you want to start with people that already have a reason for wanting to create content, right? Go back to the basics. Align on a sort of handshake reason to come to the table and say, I'd like you to create content, not just for marketing or for me, but also because you need content. So this could be, for example, you want to find the why for why different players in your community need content consistency. So this might be they need consistency for personal brand building. Maybe they need consistent materials for product release updates. Okay, get the product team involved. Maybe they need consistent content to shout out new job openings for hiring and recruiting, right? Get the HR team involved. Maybe they need content consistency around top-down thought leadership. Get the sales team involved to lead from the front with their expertise. Maybe it's for the customer team. They need consistency in customer engagement, right? Whether that's good storytelling or good testimonials that showcase their work and teach other customers. So all that being said is, like, as you go to build your channel and build content that's engaging for your audience at a marketing level, who do you staff? Well, really anyone in your community could be staffed for a channel, but analysis paralysis means, okay, let's get rid of that. Let's hone down a little more granularly, choose people to get started that have their own reason for needing content in the first place, where there can be a win-win of, if you participate in this, if you build a little cadence, you're going to get content that you, creator, can deploy during your day-to-day. At the end of the day, UGC should be practical, right? So pick an internal SME, some kind of expert. Pick a sales voice or a customer voice, like a customer service or client services voice. Pick a leader. No brainer. Someone in your C-suite should definitely have a channel. Pick a customer, a consistent ambassador that represents your channel. Give them a space. Give them a channel to riff on their best practices for your tool. Create a peer-to-peer education hub, right? It's all about finding that human reason for getting someone engaged, in my opinion. Okay.
Like it may like your product people or your services people, they may be tired of the sales team positioning the solution in the wrong way, right?
Right.
I mean, they
Exactly.
built it, they engineered it, they developed it. You don't think they have a perspective on the benefit it could provide to their prospects and their customers? They probably have the best perspective as to why they built it this way and what their competitors are doing that we're doing differently. Not only is that good content for your external community, it's good content for your sales team to learn from, to use, and to distribute. And so finding the why for these internal and external stakeholders is so key, because if you can trigger them, they'll never stop creating.
Exactly. Basically, get out of the habit of going to people with a marketing chore. Try to find a more real reason why that creator should come to the table and participate in content. You'll be surprised when you pitch it that way. People end up being hungry for more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So, few more things. Let's go over a quick channel blueprint. As you're going to get started, what kind of stuff should you lay out for yourself to help you produce in a more cadenced fashion? Well, three main things. One, you want to figure out your mission statement or your channel promise. What is the point of your channel? That's one. Number two is you want to pick the format. This is important. Again, remember, formats can evolve. They can change. You can always add more formats to a channel, but it's very difficult to try to like run 10 formats all at once and then realize you can't and you peel them back. So be intentional here. Set yourself up for success. And then step three here is to pick your output cadence, but also your production cadence, right? Figure out how consistently are you going to create and how consistently do you plan to release. So for the channel promise, this could be as simple as like this template, right? In this amount of time, you'll learn or you'll get X outcome for X audience without da-da-da-da-da. Think of like the punchy hook intros you hear in tutorial videos, right? In 60 seconds, we're going to answer one customer question with real voices from the field. Okay, that's a channel promise. Now your channel has intent, it has focus, and when you go to sit down to create new content, you know, okay, my mission is I got to find a customer question I get all the time, and I need to tap someone from the field. Maybe it's a field tech or it's one of our customers who gives peer-to-peer education to answer that for our audience, right? You're not having to reinvent the wheel every time you go to create media. Boom. Pick the format. So many different kinds of formats here for UGC channels. You saw from David, he was doing podcasts. He was also doing Q&As. He was also doing trade show thought leadership. He was also doing like a hosted bit with a little tip or strategy. All of those are viable types of content you could fit under a channel. Think FAQ quick hits. Think weekly recaps. One of my favorites is the newsjacking corner. Newsjacking is a strategy where like you see what's going on in your industry. What's everyone already talking about? What's the hot news in my industry? Okay, I'm going to release a 90-second video riffing on that. I'm going to do that once a week, and that's my little editorial thought leadership corner. Great way to get yourself positioned consistently in the areas of conversation your industry is already having. Right? Content should spark engagement. And then on cadence, again, creation and release. Ideally, you're choosing between weekly or bi-weekly. Okay, usually bi-weekly is a great place to start. You can always do more. It can be kind of disruptive for your audience if you set a cadence that you can't keep up with and you have to pull back, right? Not the most confident signal that you're sending. So pick what you can sustain here. Weekly, bi-weekly, but don't go any more infrequent than monthly, in my opinion. Once you go past monthly, you start to lose any kind of natural cadence people have for expecting your content. And you start to get into a 6-week or 2-month turnaround cycle. No one's really feeling the consistency at that point. All right, so now let me show you guys real quick in the platform some workflows that can help you execute on these styles of content. So if you're unfamiliar, right, at MarketScale, we have MarketScale Studio. This is our UGC engine. It's our platform that helps you create content more consistently, helps you orchestrate content from your communities, and then scale that content with access to our editing community, right? Everything you need to help you build that habit, along with our coaching, of course. So let me just share my screen here briefly. So I wanted to show off here a few different ways, right, to put the tool to work. First thing is you're going to want to choose how you want to actually record your content. So are you getting this content from others? Well, then you're going to want to use the requests tool here, right, where you can build a survey, send that survey out to others, and simply prompt others to respond to very specific questions. Simple as, right? This is a great way for people on here who are like the marketing coordinator. You build the intake funnel, you make it easy for that creator, and you send them the link and say, hey, here's your weekly drop-off link. Just respond to the question I curated for you.
This is like conducting the music.
Exactly.
You know, instead of you having to create every piece of content yourself, if you're the marketing director or coordinator or whatever, now's your opportunity to say, hey, I need to hear a little something from these people over here. I'm going to request it. I'm going to prompt them. I'm going to guide them with a few questions, with a few topics, and then let them play the music for you.
Right. And you can build templates off of these as well. That's the critical part here, right? You want to make this repeatable for everyone involved. So if you've got a consistent set of questions you send weekly, you've got a few of the same elements that you're going to reuse, build a template off of these surveys. And now check it out, right? You can just build the request here. You can always just preview it to see, does my template look solid? And basically you create your foundations that you can repeat. Okay. Now, if you are looking to record yourself or record with others, I'm talking roundtable or podcast or solo thought leadership to camera, you can use our record media tool. That's just this feature here, record. The request function I showed you, the surveys tool is here, request. Right, but now I'm showing you record. Record here lets you invite up to 4 people, sit down, and record a virtual stream. Everyone's feed's going to be captured separately at high quality. You can then mix and match those feeds into a montage video or a podcast or a Q&A video, whatever, right? And they'll look like this. You'll build your little recording room. You copy this link to others, and then you can enter the room. And recording in there is pretty intuitive. It's a simple, record prompt, and it's very user-friendly. Check out our help.marketscale.com for more if needed. Okay. But now I really want to show you the templatized side of this, because like creating the media is really not that difficult. You can also just take your phone out, and your production cadence can be film a selfie and publish it directly, to LinkedIn or upload to Studio for a quick edit. But that's an important layer of this. Every piece of media in Studio can get an edit. You can request an edit on that content. And when you request that edit, you choose the branding that you want on that content. And you also choose the a specific style of edit that you want for that video. These are both areas where you can templatize your production process and create consistency so that editors are creating the same style of media consistently with the same look, branding, feel, but also for you to not have to give editing direction on the same piece of media a million times in a row. You can find that here in the Media Studio to actually request your edits. But here's the back end with brand books and saved orders. You can find that here on your profile picture. You go down here to, if you're an admin, you have got access to this. If you're not an admin, get in touch with your admin. They can help you out here. You can go to brand books and saved orders and check it out, right? We've got this brand book here with our colors and fonts and basic information. But importantly, go down here, check out the examples area, right? This is a living document. As you start to build good examples of your show or series, drop them in here, right? Now you're building a more consistent approach to your content production. We've also got saved orders. So if I'm doing, the same style of interview consistently, if I'm doing an interview on my show with one guest, well, that edit is going to have a very similar style every single time I go to get it edited. Similar frames, similar side-by-side, or kind of back and forth cutting, right? So I save this as an order. And now when I go to request my edit, I can choose that saved order. So I barely have to give any direction. I've already locked in a solid order from the past, and I'm telling the editors, remake this video with the same style of direction, the same look, right? So all this to say, our platform here is here to support you in all of these habitual changes you're looking to bring to yourself, right? Whether that is, you're looking to launch a solo show, you're looking to launch an interview show, you're looking to just take what you're already creating, but create it more consistently. Our platform is here to help you do just that. So I highly recommend build your workflows in the platform. And last but not least, too, you can organize yourself to activate others in the platform, not just with surveys, but also with accountability. We have our tasks ecosystem here in the platform as well. You can find it here in this little checkbox area, where you can create tasks and campaigns to bucket tasks to hold others accountable. Who do you want to set up to be the creator? Who's the reviewer, right? Who's going to check to make sure the content looks solid? Who's the publisher or distributor? Someone that makes sure this gets out to the needed channels. You can manage all of that in the platform as well to help you stay organized, because that's what this is really all about. Building a channel is about organization. It's about, again, cadence. And there's no better way to build cadence than by actually having some structure in how you're creating, right? So those are some tips and tricks on our platform, how you can put those to work to help you execute on your channel. I highly recommend, folks, you get in there, you build a record room for yourself, film something. If you haven't already, send it off for edit and just experience the basic workflows of the platform. You're either going to be using those yourself to launch a channel, or you're going to be training others to do so and helping encourage them to do so. So there's no better way to learn the platform, in my opinion, than by just ripping the Band-Aid off and experimenting a little bit. So, folks, that covers most of what I wanted to hit on here today with launching your UGC channel, right? So, in summary, channels beat one-off content. Okay, they give you cadence, they give you structure. We understand the why. Okay, but to get started, you really want to choose what kind of channel are you going to launch. This is at least a starting point to help you put some horse blinders on so you don't get distracted by too many options. Pick a lane. You build in a show that you produce and release consistently. You build in a series that you produce inconsistently but release consistently. Or are you creating an umbrella channel that's meant to just kind of house and bucket a mix of inconsistent content, but to get the brand consistency and that sort of coral reef of engagement from your audience consistency? Okay. Then you want to map out your channel blueprint. Figure out your channel promise. What is that one line that helps reground you when you go to create a new episode? Pick your format. What are you going to do on the show? Start with one or two. Keep it focused for your own sake. And then pick your production and output cadence. Very critical. Set something achievable for yourself. Pick something you can sustain, because that's the real magic, is when you pick something that you can actually keep up with and you build it into a habit, and then it becomes second nature. Then you want to build your operating system, the people that are going to be involved, who should populate your channel, right? And our tip here is find people to staff out your channel, or it's just you recording yourself, right? But if you're orchestrating for others, pick folks that also have their own why for needing content. Very practical reasons for putting content to work as a tool. And last but not least, if you're a MarketScale customer, you've got a platform that helps you orchestrate all of this, help you create your own stuff, get content from others, get it consistently branded, get the same style of edit created over and over, low lift, consistent return, and you can organize responsibility and accountability with tasks as well to make sure everything's covered. So those are the main things I wanted to hit on here today. David, I'll leave you with some final comments here. What's the most practical takeaway that you want our audience to put to work as they're looking to build their UGC channel?
Series leads to consistency and repeatable habits. Make it practical by crowdsourcing, democratizing, getting multiple people to turn their cameras on. And then finally, don't worry about being perfect. Imperfection is actually authenticity, and authenticity is the new creativity. And let it rip. I mean, you have every reason in the world to start. We're going to make it easy for you to get there, and nothing's going to get distributed until you give it the approval anyway. So let it rip. Find a way to make it easy, consistent, practical, and let us help you if you need it.
Boom. All right, folks, there you have it. I know we went a little long. Thank you to the majority of y'all for staying on. We're going to be coming back to you weekly with more UGC Workshop live. We're getting practical. We're getting in the weeds on every single one of these so you walk away with something you can put to work immediately. So our challenge for y'all, find those creators or find that mission statement and get that first piece for your channel built out this week. And give yourself the grace to iterate, right? This is a learning process. You don't have, the best gym form the first day that you pick up those dumbbells. You will get better the more you create. Trust the process, and you've got us as your coaches and guides to help you along the way.
That's right.
All right. Thank you to David Kemp, again, Director of Growth here at MarketScale and host of the Highway to Health podcast. Find him on LinkedIn, follow along, learn from him. You can also shoot him a DM if you want to talk shop. All right. Thank you, David, for your time.
Thank y'all.
And thank you, everyone, for joining UGC Workshop Live. We will have the full presentation of this available on demand. If you have any other questions, you know where to find us. You can always hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm Daniel Litwin on there, voice of B2B. But also, if you're a MarketScale customer, get in touch with your UGC coach or your director. If you're looking for more tailored coaching from myself, I host trainings and workshops with creators, with marketing strategists to help you guys improve at your UGC. So we'll see you next week, Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central, every Tuesday, and you know where to find us. I'm Daniel Litwin, voice of B2B. Thanks for tuning in, folks, and we'll see you on the next UGC Workshop Live. Appreciate y'all. Peace.